When I was 9 years old, I stopped wearing anything that would show my arms. I felt self-conscious of how my arms looked. 2 years later, on a really hot day, I worked up the courage to put on short sleeves. My courage was short-lived. A classmate asked me a question and it made me really uncomfortable. I was really upset and it set off a lot of alarms in my head. In fact, I didn't wear short sleeves to school again until halfway through 7th grade. Body image is essentially the way you think about your own body, whether you like it or not. To have a negative body image means that you are dissatisfied with the way you look and are often self-conscious of your body. Body image is not a new problem. Among the earliest representations of women's bodies are the over 23,000-year-old Venus figurines found in Europe. Many of these figurines have large breasts and wide hips and thighs. We don't know if these figurines had to do with fertility or if they were some kind of deity to those who made them, but in my opinion, part of what makes them so interesting is that when I look at them, despite them probably having been made for fertility purposes, I think instead of how this is just another representation of the ideal woman. Essentially, what's beautiful has changed, but the depiction hasn't. How women are supposed to look is always declared by someone else. The ancient Greeks carved statues of worship for their gods, including their god of love and beauty, Aphrodite. Aphrodite had what people now call a pear-shaped body. In this type of body, the top half is narrower than the bottom. About 1,400 years ago, in China, during the time of the Tang Dynasty, many people lived in poverty, so to have the extra weight of fat on your body was to show that you were wealthy enough to eat as much as you wanted. But later, about 1,000 years ago, during the time of the Song Dynasty, slenderness was preferred. During the Victorian era, women were expected to have large breasts, a tiny waist, and round hips. This figure was created by corsets, hoop skirts, and voluminous fabrics. Later still, in the 1920s, the curvaceous silhouette favored in the Victorian era was exchanged for a slim, boyish figure with a flat chest and a thin waist. Depending on what's in style, women can feel pressured to look a certain way. One day, I asked a friend, "When do you feel the most self-conscious?" She responded that it was whenever she wore anything that wasn't baggy. In an article by Lisa D'Amour, PhD, host of the Ask Lisa podcast, D'Amour references a study where people in bathing suits and sweaters take a math test in a room with mirrors. The men did similarly on average, regardless of what they were wearing. The women, however, did much better while wearing sweaters than swimsuits. The article states that when young women are prompted to reflect on their physical appearance, they seem to lose intellectual focus. The media also plays a significant role in shaping body image perceptions among teenage girls, often leading to unrealistic beauty standards and self-esteem issues. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok glamorize idealized body types through filters and edits, which can create pressure for young girls to conform to these images. A survey used in a study conducted by a California State University undergrad student shows that there is a statistically significant correlation between social media usage and having an unhealthy body image. Furthermore, the constant barrage of curated lives and perfect appearances can exacerbate feelings of stress and sadness, highlighting the urgent need for media literacy and healthy online practices among adolescents. A recent study at the University of Washington found that at age 13, 53% of American girls are unhappy with their bodies. This number rises to 78% by the time the girls reach 17. In fact, according to the National Library of Medicine, part of the National Institutes of Health, the U.S. has an overall higher rate of body image concerns than a lot of other countries, especially European ones. But having a negative body image is more than just feeling insecure about yourself. It can lead to so many serious consequences. Some of these include eating disorders, self-harm, anxiety, depression, overexercising your body, isolation, negative self-talk, which can lead to feelings of self-worthlessness, body dysmorphia, and even suicide in the worst cases. Some days, I still have a hard time getting out of bed and putting on a short-sleeve shirt. It's an ongoing challenge that I face daily, but I feel it getting easier. So what do? We should be open to breaking boundaries and celebrating individuality, not putting it down. Try to spend less time on social media if you notice it makes you feel self-conscious, and please support people who do feel insecure. Instead of focusing on the things you hate, focus on what makes you beautiful, because you are.